So for some time now, we have known about the Leia book Bloodline that is scheduled to be released soon, which is a novel all from the perspective of Leia as she attempts to deal with the Senate and establish a resistance to fight off against a sinister new threat that is stirring in the Outer Rim, while also handling conflicts due to her being the daughter of the famed Imperial Enforcer and Sith Lord Darth Vader. This book is absolute canon, and it takes place only 6 years prior to the events of The Force Awakens, which means it is a very important piece in the puzzle that this new trilogy has become, and is linked very closely with The Force Awakens and the other two films that will come later down the line. For promotion for the book, a few big details were released that are very important to the status of the galaxy in The Force Awakens, and possibly more importantly, the Skywalker family. As said earlier, the first piece of information we got is that the novel is set 6 years before The Force Awakens, making them really close to one another. For a bit of perspective, A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back roughly take place 3 years apart from each other. We next hear that currently, at this time, Ben Solo is still training with Luke to become a Jedi, and Luke's academy is still very much active and thriving. This is a gigantic reveal, as many have speculated that Ben Solo may have turned to the dark side earlier, but it actually turns out that he was still training with Luke up until this point. I assume it is during this time that Ben really starts to feel the pull towards the dark side of the Force, but this is cool indication that at the time of The Force Awakens, he hasn't been with the First Order as long as many originally perceived. This goes well in explaining why during the events of that film, he was still feeling the light within him. While this info definitely helps narrow the gap, we are still unsure as to the exact time of his swaying. Along with this reveal is that we know Luke was still around and actively training students, which narrows the gap between when he departed into exile after his academy was massacred. A really big question I hope gets answered when the novel itself is released is how exactly long Ben has been training with Luke, as that is unclear. The next pretty big piece of info we get is that at this time, Han and Leia are still a couple and are together. This again makes sense, as it is made pretty clear in The Force Awakens that it was Ben Solo's turn to the dark side that was the ultimate thing that broke them up, as they had a hard time being with one another after suffering the tragedy of their son's betrayal. The next very important piece of info we get is confirmation of Ben Solo's age. At the time of Bloodline, he is said to be 23 years old, which means at the time of The Force Awakens, Kylo is now confirmed to be 29, as we know Bloodline takes place 6 years before it. This is definitely very crucial, as it was confirmed a while back Rey is 19 during The Force Awakens. So those are the really big pieces of news and reveals that we received, but we do have some minor ones as well. The book is going to take place all from Leia's point of view, which makes sense, but also stomps out any hope of getting into either Luke's or Kylo's heads at this time, which is something I really want eventually. Next is that there will be flashbacks in the book between Han and Leia, and it is here that I am hoping we get some stuff with the younger Ben Solo, and really get a better idea of when he went off to train with Luke, or even a mention of his fascination with Darth Vader would be a cool touch. The next two pieces really go hand in hand, and they are that Han owns a shipping company, which we actually got to see him somewhat do in The Force Awakens, and that Leia wants to retire and become a full-time crew member aboard the Falcon. So we get a few things from this. Obviously, Leia's career did change from more of a political one, but she never became a crew member for Han. She instead chose to become a general for the Resistance. And of course, the last little cool piece of info we received from this is that at this time, Han is still in possession of the Millennium Falcon. So it's really beginning to look like Bloodline is a book that we all really need to read to get some crucial details about a lot of our leads past prior to The Force Awakens. I am curious at this point what exactly they will focus on in the book. I assume a majority of it will be establishing the Resistance, but I really want to learn more about Ben Solo and Luke and what was going on through their minds at this point in time. I'm also curious if we will find out exactly how Han lost the Falcon. Anyway, tell me what you think. Are you as excited to read Bloodline as I am, and how do you feel about these big reveals? If you don't have time to read the book, or just don't feel like it, be sure to stay tuned on the channel as we will be covering all future revelations concerning Star Wars. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.